Holes and clothes, shit, I love the high. Let's toast to the street life. No matter right or wrong, it's hard to live and ride. Pedal to the floor in the fast lane. Met the fork in the
dude, I'm not sure if it's Angelo, something like
That's
that.
Angelo Roberts, yeah.
Robinson. So I see before that everything was like together. Was that one of the things that divided it to what it is now?
I wouldn't say per se that divided it. It already started splintering as far as within my inside the Four Corner Hustler Nation, because everybody was fighting for leadership, bro. Everybody wanted to be, you know, at that time. I mean, this is like the early 90s. Everybody wanted to be the big chief and no Indians, bro. Nobody wanted to follow law. And law governed all of this, but everybody wanted to be the one to oversee law. You know what I'm talking about?
Now let me ask you this, because I see a lot of the signs says four corners travel the world, four corners of the world. So throughout history, a lot of gangs and organizations get so big that you have certain parts of the world that start their own without you knowing, or anything like that. Have y'all come across that where you have 4C, someone plays? I'm like, yo, who are these people that we never even heard of them? Has that happened?
No, I can't say that has happened at all.
You know, the
closest thing to it will be probably the Lil Baby, Lil 4PF.
Yeah.
But they, you know, they established. From what I heard, they got something going on with the cousins. So you know that's what it is. You know, but as far as brothers screaming out they Four Corner Hustlers, but not down with this Four Corner Hustlers demonstration, not pretty much too much. I done heard a few people get confused as far as us in California when I was talking to a few people from like 400. You know, they like, what y'all is, you know what I mean? We foes, you know what I'm talking about? But they like, well, we from 400. Okay, well, we all throw up 4 fingers and we all mean it. You know what I mean? It's something that we gonna live and die for, but y'all mean it in a whole different meaning than what we mean. You know what I mean?
There's a rappers out here, I got his name. They young though, but they throw up the fours and they saw them tough. Got their name. They from New York. They throw up the fours and they stuff. I'm trying to think of their name. They made a song called New Apollo. I'm not sure his name, but I know some people out here throwing up the fours out here in New York.
Okay, well I'm gonna have to check that out. I don't think I've seen it yet, bro. And you know I
get it for you. I definitely get it for you. But that other question I seen online, because you know Chicago, they have racial tension. A lot of people racially together. So I see a lot here Spanish Four Corner Hustlers. Is that official? Because you know YouTube say a lot of stuff.
Yeah, actually that is official, bro. Actually, that's one of the movements Low put down while he was alive, man. Yeah, man. And they over there by Jeffrey Manor, so they surrounded by disciples, bro. It's like they holding their own, bro. There they are. They like on 103rd and Hoaxie, 104th and Hoaxie. Yeah, They got a few Spanish vice lords over there, but yeah, for the most part, it's disciples over there, Latin and black.
Was there ever time that Walter Weed, Larry Hoover, and King David were all alive and around at the same time? Like, how was the organizations back then when all of them was around?
It was a time they all was in Stateville together, if I'm not mistaken. Stateville Penitentiary. Yeah. That's when when you hear brothers talk about the brothers of struggle. I mean, the GDs pretty much took that and they ran with that moniker. But from my understanding, that brothers of struggle was all the nations, all the heads getting together up in Stateville, man. That's where that brothers of struggle came from. That's when David Barksdale was still alive too.
Were you around for the Black Souls? I see a lot of Black Souls and stuff like that.
Yeah, they mainly a West Side gang, but they are notorious. They don't play. It's a handful of them when you want to compare them to the numbers of everybody else on the West Side, but they hold their own, bro.
Are they one of like the original ones from like back in the days, like one of the first?
Yeah. They've been around for 30, 40 years.
How long
everybody been around for 30, 40 years, except the Vice Lords. We the oldest black gang in America as far as that's a still operating gang, bro. Like the nation, that we started in the 50s, like 52. Remember Babalu? Yeah, 54.
And who was Honorable Benny Lee? I see his name being mentioned a lot. Benny Lee.
Yeah, Benny Lee, man. He was like the leader of the mafias, man. You know, I honor him, man. You know, I always honor all the leaders and everything, but you know, his nation and my nation, we don't really see eye to eye like that. You know
And
what
what
I'm talking
nation he
about?
was exactly he's a black.
Mafia insane rights lord. He would
Okay, okay.
Bo Deal is.
Yeah, so yeah, I see Bo Dill, the rapper from Chicago. So how
Mm-hmm.
did the 4Cs and the GDs end up clashing? Like, was it from the beginning or just a
Yeah,
situation that sparked it off?
that was some big, basically in the beginning stuff. You know what I mean? That was some we ride under the 5, they ride under the 6 type of thing. And so once it started really getting bigger than just people just screaming it, everybody had to take sides. So us, the Stones, the Mickey Cobras, the Latin Kings, we went our way. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Latin
okay.
counts. Then the GDs, the BDs, the New Breeds, the Black Souls, the Satan Disciples, the Imperial Gangsters, they went their way. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's how that went about.
So growing up out there, what were some of the things you seen? Because I hear a lot of people say this about on the streets, in the gang, and in prison gangs. They say a lot of time on the streets is like outlaw, is whatever. But when you go inside the prison, they got the thing I heard, one love, and a lot of blood Crips says where y'all can't fight each other no more. You know what I'm saying? We together. So how was that when y'all in the prison system?
Okay, well, I can only really speak on the county jail because that's as far as my prison
Okay, okay,
tournaments went.
okay.
But as far as that though, yeah, you are correct. Once you go in the walls, man, you get past processing and you get put on a deck or division, you going with the brothers or you going with the folks. That's it. It ain't gonna be no I'm GD or I'm BD or I'm a conservative vice lord, I'm a universal unknown vice lord. Nah, you are. Don't get it wrong, you are, but they gonna tell you okay, the brothers back there. You know what I'm saying? So when you walk in, they gonna ask you what you is. You gonna get screened. They don't care how old you is. You gonna get screened.
So how uncomfortable situation may be is you leave the streets with a mortal enemy, but now we got to sit here and be in the same party and be cool because we got to hold down our territory of us.
In our day class, I'm gonna tell you, man, it would have been more political with how they dealt with the situation.
Okay,
But
okay.
these shorties right now, they don't give a fuck about nothing. If it's up like that, it's up. They gonna send it up. No matter what the situation is, if they gotta risk getting fucked up by their guys, that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna send it up.
So now let me ask you that. Now get to that question. So now, with you coming from another generation, what is it like seeing a generation of the people under your banner move today? And is it still possible for the older dudes to still have some kind of structure, which it seems like it's not?
That's a good question, class. It ain't that it's not possible. It's just these shorties, man. To be honest with you, I think this is a problem that everybody got. Probably this is a problem in New York too. These shorties be off these pills. They be
Yeah.
off the lean. They ain't trying to hear shit. They be first off, their mind ain't even developed
Okay.
big enough yet. And so your mind ain't developed. You done pop 4 Xannies and 3 perks, and you done smoke a 7 in a wood. I mean, it's really not hard to see how this stuff happened, bro. And then, people really ain't got the patience to hear nobody talking crazy to them anyway in the first place, even when you sober. So,
No, that's definitely true. So the question I'm getting to is right now. I do a lot of research, follow the gang culture all over. I'm from New York. We got our own gang culture, but I'm more fascinated in other cities' gang culture because it's actually their culture. For us, New York is a thing that we adopted here. Like we had our little cliques, but we adopted more or less the gang culture. Like we got GDs out here, been since the '90s. They got 20 years out here, but it's not like the other cities. You know what I'm saying? The other
yeah.
cities is they breathe it, sleep it, eat it. Like you see it. It's not like you got to go in New York. You got to go certain places to see it. When you go to certain cities, that's a culture. So I'll be fascinated about that because I mean it's real life shit. This ain't a joke. This ain't a movie. You know what I'm saying? People living this
Yeah.
shit every day.
Oh,
So what I
yeah.
want to say is, I'm looking at some parts of the West Coast, the Florencia, the Spanish gangs, a lot of Bloods who've been mortal enemies for years. A lot of them, not all of them, but a few of them came to like a truce where we come 200 of us come together and we're not gonna kill each other. We see each other in the store. We might not shake hands. We just, you go left, I go right, and we don't kill each other. Do you think something like that could ever be possible in Chicago?
Honestly, I believe it can be possible, to be honest with you. But for it to be possible, structure got to be brought back in. As long as it's lawlessness, I don't think so. Cause you could always have a few of your homies abide by what you say, cause they like, okay, what you talking about is some real shit. You own some real shit. I could honor that. But it's always gonna be and you got a whole crowd, so you know you gotta have a knucklehead in the crowd.
And you know
And
what's
knuckleheads
crazy?
don't listen to nobody, man. They on go all day, every day. They just don't go.
And you know what's
And
crazy though? I had a conversation with my peoples. You know, we talk about this, and we came to the conclusion. We said, in the day, those people they gotta get knocked off because they cancers. Those respect to the culture, to our people, but some dudes are too far gone. They just too far gone. 8 bodies, they too far gone. They don't want to do. You know what I'm saying? You have to
see,
do that.
Pat, I grew up in that era. When you was out of pocket, you got dealt with. And it might
Yeah,
have been your guys that took you out.
yeah. So now let's get back to that Yummy case. Now let's get back to that.
Okay.
That was a similar thing in a sense. They said the kid went out. He had orders, whatever they said. Allegedly, he had orders to shoot somebody. He ended up missing, killing a little girl. And I guess they was fearful that he might tell or whatever. And they sent some other dudes to kill the kid like that. So now, fast forward, I just saw an interview. The dude is free. I think both of them home. Both brothers are home. And they did an interview. Did you see the interview they did?
I did.
So
I
how do you
did.
feel about that in the sense of us being adults now? When you first hear the story, it sounds so gruesome and crazy, which it still is. But then you see it, these number of other little kids who was manipulated to doing something to another little kid.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. You know, cause that's my era. So like, I know that they was coerced to do what they did. Ain't no way that they did that on their own. You know what I'm saying? So they put in their time for what they did, bro. I mean, it is what it is. Let them
Yeah,
people live. Try to have a life at least.
yeah, exactly. I just saw that. Like that was crazy. So speaking of Little Fingers, where you get the name Little Fingers from? Let's take it there. Where the name come from? Little Fingers.
Little fingers, man. Hold on, you see the little fingers, man? Little fingers, man.
Okay,
But you
okay.
know, yeah, I got that name from Walter Weed himself, man. He used to call me Little Fingers, man. So, you know, it kind of stuck with me, and all the brothers that was, you know, from around the way used to call me Little Fingers, you know. And then the Nitty Shiest name, that really
Yeah,
just
Nitty
came.
Shiest. That's a
That
cool ass
came
name.
about, man. I'm gonna tell you, that's wild. I actually got that name from a gangster, man.
A
I
word?
got
Tell
that
me the
name from a
story.
disciple. Yeah, I was kicking it with a nigga, man, and long story short, man, some niggas up, man, and we up, and
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
it got into a little Mexican standoff situation, man,
Oh wow.
and one of the niggas across the street, you know what I'm saying, cussing at me because after they got the yapping, you know, they see me like, oh, bro, what the fuck, nigga, what you doing over there with them? I'm like,
Yeah,
hold on, nigga, you yapped at us, nigga, I was already with them. So
yeah.
that's where the name Nitty Shiest came from, man. They're like, you shicey as hell, nigga, you just kicking it with whoever the fuck you want to kick it with. Nah, it wasn't even like that, but yeah, my name stuck with me, man. It always stuck with me.
All right, so I got a few names I want to put out there to you. Tell me what to come to you. Chief Mufasa, Risky Road, Garfield Park. Like I'm hearing a lot of names. Like, what's those mean to you? Them names and stuff like that.
Well, Chief Mufasa, you know, that's one of the old heads, man, that, you know, used to put things down for the brothers, you know. Good dude, you know what I'm talking about. I definitely fuck with him. Risky Road down the street from where I stayed at, you know, that's like 103rd and Maryland and those blocks. But you know, all us shared the same high school. We all went to Corliss. But you know, them brothers too, them foes too. So, you know, I fuck with them. And the first thing that a lot of people would think when they hear Risky Road that don't know about the foes being over there is Rondo. Because Rondo originally from
Oh,
Risky
Rondo
Road.
number 9 is from over there.
Yeah, that's where he from. Him and his brother.
I got a lot of rappers too, though. I've been looking up the fours. I see a lot of rappers that's blowing up for the Fork Hustlers. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like it'd be a good thing in the sense of it'll bless the nation with people that's successful, or would it turn out in the sense of how these GDBDs killing each other, rappers, and all the stuff we see on the internet?
Well, you know, it kind of feel like
Hoes and clothes, shit, I love it high. Let's toast to the street life. No matter right or wrong, it's hard to live and ride. Pedal to the floor in a fast lane. Met the fork in the road and went straight. Hey, let's toast to the